One day you'll wake up and you'll realize that the people you spent years trying to impress never intended to help you grow. Think about that. How much time have you wasted chasing approval, trying to fit in, trying to make people like you, trying to convince someone to value you? The painful truth is this: the more you chase people, the more you lose yourself. The happiest people aren't the ones with the biggest circle. They're the ones who finally stopped running after people who never appreciated them in the first place. Because confidence doesn't begin when everyone accepts you. It begins when you accept yourself. Today, we're going to talk about one of the biggest mistakes that keeps millions of people stuck: chasing people instead of building themselves. And by the end of this video, you may never look at your relationships or yourself the same way again. Jim Rohn often reminded us that our lives change when we change, not when circumstances change, not when people change, not when luck changes. When we change, too many people spend years trying to win the approval of people who have already decided not to support them. They text first, they apologize first, they sacrifice their dreams, they lower their standards, they change their personality just to avoid being rejected. But here's the question: if someone only values you when you're chasing them, did they ever value you at all? Real relationships don't require constant chasing. Real friendships don't require begging. Real respect cannot be forced. It must be earned through character. The strongest people understand something different. Instead of asking, "How can I make people like me?" they ask, "How can I become someone I'm proud of?" That single shift changes everything. Because when you become valuable, you stop needing validation. When you build discipline, you stop depending on attention. When you build confidence, you stop fearing rejection. And when you build yourself, the right people naturally begin finding you. Jim Rohn said, "Work harder on yourself than you do on your job." Those few words have transformed millions of lives. Most people spend 8 hours improving their company, but almost no time improving themselves. They invest in everyone else's future, except their own. Imagine if you spent just 1 hour every day reading, learning, exercising, developing communication skills, strengthening your discipline. Where would you be 1 year from today? The answer is obvious. You'd become a completely different person. Success is not something you chase. Respect is not something you beg for. Opportunities are not something you wait for. They become attracted to the person you are becoming. That is why personal growth is the greatest investment you'll ever make. Think about a magnet. A weak magnet attracts very little. A powerful magnet attracts almost everything placed near it. Your character works the same way. The stronger your discipline, the stronger your confidence, the stronger your mindset, the more opportunities your life begins attracting. That's why chasing people is exhausting. Building yourself is empowering. One leaves you empty, the other makes you unstoppable. Today, we're going to explore why chasing people quietly destroys confidence, why self-respect always attracts better relationships, and how becoming the best version of yourself changes every area of your life. Because the greatest comeback isn't making someone regret losing you. It's reaching a point where you no longer need their approval. And that is real freedom. There is a silent trap that keeps millions of people from living the life they truly deserve. It's called the need for approval. Many people spend years trying to make everyone happy. They say yes when they want to say no. They hide their opinions to avoid conflict. They sacrifice their dreams just to fit into someone else's expectations. At first it feels harmless. You tell yourself you're simply being kind. You're trying to keep the peace. You're trying to be accepted. But slowly, something begins to happen. Every time you ignore your own values to please someone else, you lose a small piece of yourself. Jim Rohn once said, "The major value in life is not what you get. The major value in life is what you become." Think about those words. Your greatest achievement is not popularity. It's not wealth. It's not fame. It's the person you become through the choices you make every single day. And every time you chase approval instead of personal growth, you're choosing someone else's opinion over your own future. Imagine a young man named David. David wanted everyone to like him. Whenever his friends invited him somewhere, he went. Even when he had important work to finish. Even when he knew it wasn't good for him. He loaned money he couldn't afford to lose. He cancelled his own plans just to avoid disappointing others. He laughed at jokes he didn't find funny. He agreed with opinions he didn't actually believe. Years passed. His friends moved on. Some forgot about him completely. But David was left with something far more painful. He had forgotten who he really was. How many people are living exactly like David today, trying so hard to be accepted that they've stopped accepting themselves? Jim Rohn also said, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." That statement should make every one of us stop and think. Who are the 5 people closest to you? Do they inspire you? Do they encourage discipline? Do they challenge you to become better? Or do they expect you to stay small so they feel comfortable? The people around you are either adding value to your life or quietly stealing your potential. A powerful magnet attracts almost everything placed near it. Your character works the same way. The stronger your discipline, the stronger your confidence, the stronger your mindset, the more opportunities your life begins attracting. That's why chasing people is exhausting. Building yourself is empowering. One leaves you empty, the other makes you unstoppable. Today, we're going to explore why chasing people quietly destroys confidence, why self-respect always attracts better relationships, and how becoming the best version of yourself changes every area of your life. Because the greatest comeback isn't making someone regret losing you. It's reaching a point where you no longer need their approval. And that is real freedom. There is a silent trap that keeps millions of people from living the life they truly deserve. It's called the need for approval. Many people spend years trying to make everyone happy. They say yes when they want to say no. They hide their opinions to avoid conflict. They sacrifice their dreams just to fit into someone else's expectations. At first it feels harmless. You tell yourself you're simply being kind. You're trying to keep the peace. You're trying to be accepted. But slowly, something begins to happen. Every time you ignore your own values to please someone else, you lose a small piece of yourself. Jim Rohn once said, "The major value in life is not what you get. The major value in life is what you become." Think about those words. Your greatest achievement is not popularity. It's not wealth. It's not fame. It's the person you become through the choices you make every single day. And every time you chase approval instead of personal growth, you're choosing someone else's opinion over your own future. Imagine a young man named David. David wanted everyone to like him. Whenever his friends invited him somewhere, he went. Even when he had important work to finish. Even when he knew it wasn't good for him. He loaned money he couldn't afford to lose. He cancelled his own plans just to avoid disappointing others. He laughed at jokes he didn't find funny. He agreed with opinions he didn't actually believe. Years passed. His friends moved on. Some forgot about him completely. But David was left with something far more painful. He had forgotten who he really was. How many people are living exactly like David today, trying so hard to be accepted that they've stopped accepting themselves? Jim Rohn also said, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." That statement should make every one of us stop and think. Who are the 5 people closest to you? Do they inspire you? Do they encourage discipline? Do they challenge you to become better? Or do they expect you to stay small so they feel comfortable? The people around you are either adding value to your life or quietly stealing your potential. One conversation can change your thinking. One friendship can change your habits. One mentor can change your future. Likewise, one toxic relationship can slowly destroy your confidence. That's why choosing your circle is one of the most important decisions you'll ever make. Here's something most people never realize. The more valuable you become, the less you'll need to chase anyone. People naturally respect those who respect themselves. Confidence attracts. Desperation repels. When you constantly seek validation, people sense insecurity. But when you quietly work on yourself, your confidence begins speaking louder than your words. Think about successful people. They don't spend every day trying to convince everyone to like them. They're too busy improving themselves, learning, growing, building, creating. Their focus isn't on being noticed. Their focus is on becoming valuable. And value always gets noticed eventually. So ask yourself today, who are you trying to impress? And more importantly, why? Because the moment you stop chasing approval, you begin chasing purpose. And purpose will always lead you farther than popularity ever could. This is where real confidence begins, not when people applaud you, but when you can look in the mirror and genuinely respect the person looking back at you. That kind of confidence cannot be bought. It cannot be borrowed. It can only be earned. One disciplined decision, one honest choice, one day of personal growth at a time. There comes a point in life when you must make a difficult choice. You can keep surrounding yourself with people who drain your energy, or you can walk alone for a while until you find people who truly add value to your life. Many people fear being alone. They believe solitude means failure. They believe if they don't always have someone around, something must be wrong with them. But Jim Rohn taught something very different. He said, "Learn to be happy with what you have while you pursue all that you want." There's wisdom hidden in those words. If you cannot enjoy your own company, you will always depend on others to make you feel complete. And dependence is not freedom. Real confidence begins when you no longer fear being alone. Because being alone gives you something that constant noise never can. Time to think. Time to heal. Time to grow. Time to discover who you really are. Look at nature. An eagle flies alone. It doesn't seek approval from the flock. It doesn't waste time trying to fit in. It rises above the storm, while smaller birds hide from it. Success often requires seasons of solitude, not because people are bad, but because growth requires focus. Imagine a sculptor working on a masterpiece. He doesn't invite a crowd to interrupt him every 5 minutes. He works quietly, patiently, day after day. Your life is no different. You are the sculptor. Your habits are the tools. Your character is the masterpiece. Jim Rohn once said, "Give whatever you're doing and whoever you are with the gift of your attention." But how can you give your full attention to your purpose if your attention is constantly stolen by people who don't share your vision? Every notification, every unnecessary conversation, every distraction, every attempt to please everyone pulls you further away from becoming the person you were created to be. Think about a young woman named Sarah. She had dozens of friends. Her phone never stopped ringing. Every weekend was another party, another gathering, another distraction. She believed she had a wonderful social life, but deep inside, she felt empty. One day, she decided to take a different path. She began reading instead of scrolling. She started exercising every morning. She learned new skills. She spent evenings planning her future instead of chasing invitations. At first, people laughed. Some even called her boring. Others stopped inviting her altogether. For a while, she felt lonely. But something amazing happened. Month after month, her confidence grew. Her health improved. New opportunities appeared. And eventually, she attracted friends who shared her values instead of distracting her from them. She didn't lose her life. She found it. That's the power of solitude. It doesn't isolate you forever. It prepares you for better relationships. Remember this. Loneliness and solitude are not the same thing. Loneliness is wishing someone was beside you. Solitude is enjoying the journey of becoming your best self. One weakens you. The other strengthens you. Ask yourself today, when was the last time you sat quietly without your phone, without social media, without seeking someone's attention? Could you enjoy your own company, or do you immediately search for another distraction? The answer reveals more than you think, because the strongest people are comfortable standing alone when necessary. They don't abandon their values just to avoid temporary loneliness. They understand that a few months of solitude can save years of regret. Never mistake popularity for purpose. Never confuse attention with respect. And never believe that being surrounded by many people means you're surrounded by the right people. Sometimes, the greatest act of self-respect is walking away from toxic friendships, walking away from constant negativity, walking away from people who only appreciate you when they need something. Because every step away from the wrong people is one step closer to becoming the right person. And when you become the right person, the right people will naturally find you. They won't need to be chased. They'll recognize your character, your discipline, your peace, and they'll respect it. There is one quality that changes every relationship in your life. It isn't confidence. It isn't money. It isn't success. It's self-respect. The moment you begin respecting yourself, you stop accepting what once felt normal. You stop tolerating disrespect. You stop begging for attention. You stop lowering your standards just to keep people around. Jim Rohn once said, "If you don't like how things are, change it. You're not a tree." Those words are a reminder that you always have a choice. You may not control how others treat you, but you always control what you allow. Many people stay in unhealthy friendships because they're afraid of being alone. They remain in one-sided relationships because they believe something is better than nothing. But is it? If someone only calls when they need a favor, if someone constantly criticizes your dreams, if someone only values you when you're useful, that's not respect. And where there is no respect, there can be no lasting relationship. Imagine carrying a backpack filled with heavy stones. At first it's manageable, but as the journey continues, every step becomes harder. Eventually, you realize it's not the road that's exhausting you. It's the unnecessary weight you're carrying. Negative relationships work the same way. Every toxic friendship, every unhealthy connection, every person who constantly drains your energy adds another stone to your backpack. Sometimes moving forward isn't about becoming stronger. It's about putting the weight down. Jim Rohn also said, "We must all suffer one of two things, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret." There is discipline in walking away from people who don't value you. It hurts. It feels uncomfortable. You may question your decision. But compare that temporary pain to years of regret spent chasing people who never appreciated your worth. One pain lasts a season. The other can last a lifetime. Self-respect also means protecting your time. Your time is your life. Every hour spent trying to convince someone to care is an hour you could have invested in becoming wiser, healthier, stronger, or more successful. Ask yourself this question: am I spending more energy building my future or chasing people who don't belong in it? The answer may reveal why you feel stuck. Here's another truth. People often treat you according to the standards you set. If you constantly accept broken promises, disrespect, and excuses, people assume you'll continue accepting them. But when you quietly raise your standards, everything changes. Some people will leave. Let them. Others will finally respect you. And new people, people who value honesty, discipline, and growth, will begin to enter your life. Remember, building yourself is not about becoming better than someone else. It's about becoming better than the person you were yesterday. Every book you read, every healthy habit you build, every promise you keep to yourself strengthens your self-respect. And the stronger your self-respect becomes, the less you'll feel the need to chase anyone, because you'll understand one powerful truth. The right people don't need to be convinced to stay. They choose to stay. So make this decision today. Stop begging for attention. Stop proving your worth. Stop running after people who are walking away. Turn that energy inward. Build your mind. Strengthen your character. Protect your peace. And become the kind of person whose presence speaks louder than words. Because when you truly respect yourself, you stop chasing people. You start attracting them. There is a powerful truth that most people discover far too late. You don't attract better relationships by chasing people. You attract better relationships by becoming a better person. Think about the sun. The sun doesn't chase the planets. It simply shines. Because of its strength, everything naturally revolves around it. Your life works the same way. When your character becomes stronger, when your discipline becomes consistent, when your confidence comes from within, you stop living with the fear of being rejected. You stop worrying about who didn't text back. You stop wondering why someone ignored your effort. Instead, you become focused on something much more important, becoming the best version of yourself. Jim Rohn once said, "Success is something you attract by the person you become." Those words contain one of the greatest lessons about life. Most people chase success. Successful people chase growth. Most people chase opportunities. Successful people become opportunity ready. Most people chase relationships. Healthy people become the kind of person healthy relationships naturally seek. There is a huge difference. Imagine two trees. One tree spends all its energy wishing birds would land on its branches. The other quietly grows stronger. Its roots become deeper. Its branches become healthier. Its leaves become greener. Which tree will eventually attract more birds? The stronger one, not because it chased them, but because it became attractive by nature. This is exactly how life works. People are naturally drawn to confidence, not arrogance. Confidence. They're drawn to integrity. They're drawn to kindness backed by strength. They're drawn to people who know who they are. So stop asking, how do I make people notice me? Instead ask, how can I become someone worth noticing? That single question changes your entire direction. Jim Rohn also reminded us, formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. Notice the difference. A living pays your bills. A fortune changes your future. The same principle applies to your personal life. Ordinary effort creates ordinary results. Extraordinary commitment creates extraordinary character. Read books. Exercise your body. Develop communication skills. Learn about money. Strengthen your discipline. Practice gratitude. Become emotionally mature. These investments never lose value. Every chapter you read builds your thinking. Every workout builds your discipline. Every promise you keep to yourself builds your confidence. Little by little, you become a different person. And when you become different, your life becomes different. Here's something worth remembering. The world rewards value. Employers reward value. Customers reward value. Friends appreciate value. Even opportunities look for value. The more valuable you become, the less you'll need to convince anyone to choose you. Imagine two candidates applying for the same job. One spends weeks worrying about the interview. The other spends months developing new skills. Who has more confidence? The one who prepared. Confidence isn't created by positive thinking alone. It is created through preparation. The same is true in life. Prepare yourself so well that opportunities recognize you. Jim Rohn said, "Don't bring your need to the marketplace, bring your skill." That's powerful advice. People often approach life asking, "What can I get?" Instead, successful people ask, "What can I contribute?" Need pushes people away. Value attracts them. This applies to friendships, relationships, business, and every area of life. If your entire identity depends on someone else's approval, you will always feel powerless. But when your identity is built upon discipline, purpose, character, and growth, you become independent, and independence is incredibly attractive. There is another important lesson. Never confuse attention with appreciation. Many people receive attention. Very few receive genuine respect. Attention comes and goes. Respect is earned. Respect grows slowly. It is built through honesty, consistency, responsibility, keeping your word, showing up even when nobody is watching. Jim Rohn often emphasized that success begins with ordinary disciplines practiced consistently. That means your future isn't determined by one extraordinary day. It's shaped by hundreds of ordinary ones. Wake up early, read 10 pages, exercise, write your goals, keep learning, repeat tomorrow. The results may seem invisible at first. Just like planting a seed, you don't see growth immediately, but beneath the surface, the roots are forming. Months later, everyone notices the tree. They call it success. You call it consistency. Remember this. The strongest people aren't trying to prove themselves every day. They're too busy improving themselves. The quiet worker often outperforms the loud talker. The disciplined student eventually surpasses the naturally gifted one. The patient investor often finishes ahead of the impatient gambler. Why? Because consistency always defeats intensity that doesn't last. Perhaps you've spent years chasing people who never appreciated your worth. Don't let those years become your future. Learn the lesson, then turn the page. You don't need revenge. You don't need validation. You don't need everyone to understand your journey. You need one thing: progress. Because every step you take toward becoming better is a step away from insecurity. Every disciplined choice strengthens your self-respect. Every good habit reminds you that your future is still in your hands. One day, someone will ask, "What changed?" They'll expect you to describe one dramatic event, one lucky opportunity, one life-changing moment. But you'll smile because you'll know the truth. It wasn't one decision. It was thousands. Thousands of mornings when you chose discipline over comfort. Thousands of evenings when you chose learning over distraction. Thousands of moments when you chose self-respect over seeking approval. Those choices quietly built the person you are today. So stop chasing people. Stop chasing attention. Stop chasing acceptance. Instead, chase wisdom. Chase discipline. Chase excellence. Chase growth. Because when you become the best version of yourself, the right opportunities arrive. The right relationships appear. The right doors begin to open, not because life suddenly became easier, but because you became stronger. And that's the greatest transformation anyone can experience. Build yourself so completely that your presence becomes your introduction. Your character becomes your reputation. And your life becomes proof that the greatest investment you will ever make is the investment you make in yourself. There comes a moment when you realize something that changes your entire perspective. Not everyone will understand your journey. Not everyone will support your dreams. Not everyone will celebrate your success. And that's perfectly okay. The goal was never to make everyone believe in you. The goal was to believe in yourself strongly enough that the opinions of others no longer determine your direction. Jim Rohn once said, "Your life does not get better by chance. It gets better by change." Read those words again. Life changes because you change. Not because your critics become kinder. Not because your circumstances suddenly become perfect. Not because everyone finally notices your value. Your life changes the moment you decide to become responsible for it. Too many people spend years waiting. Waiting for encouragement. Waiting for someone to recognize their talent. Waiting for the perfect opportunity. Waiting for confidence to magically appear. But confidence isn't something you wait for. It's something you build. It grows every time you keep a promise to yourself. Every time you wake up when you said you would. Every time you finish what you started. Every time you choose discipline over comfort. Those small victories become evidence. Evidence that you can trust yourself. And once you trust yourself, you stop needing constant reassurance from everyone else. Imagine a sculptor standing before a massive block of marble. To everyone else, it looks like an ordinary stone. Heavy. Rough, without beauty. But the sculptor sees something different. He sees the masterpiece hidden inside. Day after day, he chips away at the stone. Sometimes the progress is almost invisible. Sometimes it feels painfully slow. But he continues because he knows transformation doesn't happen in one dramatic moment. It happens through thousands of patient actions. Your life is exactly the same. Every disciplined habit removes another piece of fear. Every book you read removes another piece of ignorance. Every difficult decision removes another piece of weakness. Little by little, you reveal the person you were always capable of becoming. Jim Rohn also said, "Motivation is what gets you started. Habit is what keeps you going." Many people live their lives chasing motivation. They watch inspiring videos. They read powerful quotes. They feel excited for a few hours. Then nothing changes. Why? Because motivation is temporary. Habits are permanent. The people you admire aren't successful because they always feel motivated. They're successful because they keep going when motivation disappears. They understand something most people don't. Feelings come and go. Discipline stays. That's why building yourself is so powerful. You're no longer controlled by your emotions. You become guided by your principles. There will be mornings when you don't feel like exercising. Read anyway. There will be evenings when you don't feel like learning.
Study anyway.
There will be days when nobody believes in your dream. Keep building anyway, because every time you continue without applause, you become mentally stronger. One of the greatest mistakes people make is comparing their beginning to someone else's middle. They see someone successful and think, "I'll never be that good." What they don't see are the years of quiet effort, the failures, the sacrifices, the lonely mornings, the disciplined evenings. Every successful person has a story nobody saw. Remember that whenever you feel behind, you're not competing with everyone else. You're competing with the person you were yesterday. Jim Rohn often reminded people that success leaves clues. One clue appears in every successful life. Consistency, not perfection. Consistency. Think about a river. A river doesn't break through rock because it's stronger. It breaks through because it never stops flowing. Consistency creates power. Your daily habits work the same way. One chapter today, another tomorrow. One workout today, another tomorrow. One honest decision today, another tomorrow. Those actions may seem ordinary, but ordinary actions repeated for years create extraordinary people. Another important lesson is this: stop measuring your progress by how quickly your life changes. Measure it by how consistently your character grows. Money can disappear, recognition can fade, popularity can change overnight, but character remains. Character follows you into every opportunity, every relationship, every challenge. Character is something no one can take away. That's why Jim Rohn believed personal development should become a lifelong pursuit. Because the better you become, the better every area of your life becomes. Your relationships improve, your decisions improve, your confidence improves, your future improves. Not because life became easier, but because you became wiser. One day people may ask, "What's your secret?" Tell them there wasn't one. There wasn't one lucky break. There wasn't one magical opportunity. There wasn't one perfect moment. There were simply thousands of small decisions. The decision to keep learning. The decision to keep growing. The decision to stop chasing approval. The decision to become someone worthy of your own respect. That is where lasting success begins. So today, make one promise to yourself. Stop looking outside yourself for the confidence that can only be built within. Stop measuring your worth by how many people notice you. Measure it by the promises you keep, by the discipline you practice, by the integrity you live with, by the person you're becoming when nobody is watching. Because the greatest reward in life isn't having everyone admire you. It's waking up every morning knowing that you're becoming someone you admire. And when that day comes, you'll realize something beautiful. You never needed everyone else's approval. You only needed the courage to keep building yourself. One disciplined day, one honest choice, one meaningful step at a time. That's how ordinary people create extraordinary lives. And that's how you stop chasing people. By becoming the kind of person who is too busy growing to run after anyone. As we come to the end of this journey, remember one simple truth. The quality of your life is not determined by how many people choose you. It is determined by how often you choose yourself. For too long, many people spend their lives searching for acceptance. They chase friendships that aren't genuine. They fight for attention that isn't freely given. They sacrifice their peace just to avoid being alone. But real transformation begins the moment you stop asking, "Who will believe in me?" and start asking, "Who am I becoming?" Jim Rohn once said, "Work harder on yourself than you do on your job." Those words are more than advice. They are a blueprint for a meaningful life. Every book you read, every healthy habit you build, every promise you keep, every difficult decision you make is shaping the person you'll become tomorrow. Never forget this. Your value does not decrease because someone failed to recognize it. A diamond remains valuable even if it's lying in the dirt. Its worth never changes, only its location does. The same is true for you. If you're surrounded by people who don't appreciate your character, don't spend your life trying to convince them. Find a place where your values are respected. Protect your peace. Protect your time. Protect your purpose. Because those are the three things you can never get back once they're wasted. There will always be people who doubt you, people who misunderstand you, people who walk away. Let them. Not everyone is meant to stay in every chapter of your life. Some people are lessons, some are blessings, and some are simply reminders of who you should never become. Keep moving forward. Keep learning. Keep growing. Keep becoming stronger than yesterday. One disciplined morning, one honest decision, one courageous step at a time. Years from now, you'll look back and realize that the greatest victory wasn't becoming successful. It wasn't becoming wealthy. It wasn't proving your critics wrong. It was becoming someone you could truly respect when you looked in the mirror. Because when you build yourself, you stop chasing people. You stop chasing approval. You stop chasing validation. Instead, you attract respect. You attract opportunities. You attract meaningful relationships. And most importantly, you build a life that no one can take away from you. So today, make a decision. Stop waiting. Stop doubting. Stop running after people who are running away from you. Turn your attention inward. Invest in your mind. Strengthen your character. Protect your discipline. Live with purpose. And become the kind of person your future self will thank you for. Because the greatest project you will ever work on is yourself. And the greatest investment you will ever make is the investment you make in becoming the best version of who you were created to be. Thank you for watching. If this message inspired you, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more timeless lessons on success, discipline, personal growth, and the wisdom of great thinkers. Leave a comment below. What is one habit you're going to start today to build a better version of yourself? Remember, stop chasing people, start building yourself. We'll see you in the next video.